All right, my dear. So we are going to go into the number eight numerology, right? The number eight numerology. Continue with our theme of the children and then the adult. With the number eight, with the child, the 8-year-old has now progressed to the third grade, right? And the 8-year-old has more knowledge, right? The 8-year-old has knowledge of math and money matters and how things are done and the exchange that takes place. So sometimes the 8-year-old may go to the store with the parent and purchase their own items, right? The 8-year-old is becoming aware of the power of certain things, the power of energy currency, whether it is in the sense of money or maybe in the sense of chores. The 8-year-old may have responsibilities that the 5-year-old did have, right? The 8-year-old may have to wash the dishes, take out the trash, do things like that. The 8-year-old now sees that someone else has more authority. You don't necessarily realize that when you're younger, that your parents are in charge. The 1-year-old does not know the parents are in charge because they aren't. But the 8-year-old realizes that at school, there's teachers, there's rules, there's regulations, and I have to get in line with those. And what you see start to happen is that the 8-year-old also has rules and regulations that they want to other people to get in line with in their life, right? The 8-year-old also has the ability to make decisions that are more rational than the decisions that would be made by a 3-year-old, which is going off of feelings. The 8-year-old is going off of facts, right? A little bit of a transition in the personality. Now, the 8-year-old can be seen as the person who manages what is happening in the children's space, right? They have a goal, they have an agenda, they have an objective that they would like to reach, and they can manage how they work with the different kids in order to get that to take place. Okay. Now, 8-year-olds may also learn about a bank account if parents are wise. So they might start seeing how saving their money builds interest, right? So they might really start looking at future things, right? Being a little bit more progressive. If I want this in December, I need to do this now. Their thought process change, right? Unfortunately, how many third graders do you know who don't like to have extra things? Tennis shoes in the United States, by the way, purses, jackets, hair bows, all these things, matching. They might become far more interested in the material things than, say, the 3-year-old who wants things because they want to be creative, not necessarily because it's the Nike shoes, right? So the 8-year-old is more the money maker. They're finding ways to get the materialistic things that they want, whether it's good grades at school, whatever your system is, they're working that system and they're working it well, hopefully. High vibration. Okay. So the 8-year-old is more practical than anyone else, right? The 8-year-old is, I have objectives, I have things I want. We got to feed my need, right? And they're looking for ways to get that and make that happen. Most of the time they're successful because they've had a few years to figure out who's in charge, who's pulling the strings. Do I go to mommy? Do I go to daddy? Do I know grandma? Do I know, auntie? Who do I go to? Right? They kind of thin that down a little bit. So what happens when we give the zero energy to the 80-year-old? And we're going to say this 80-year-old has all of their faculties, right? We're going to say this 80-year-old has lived a glamorous life, right? This 80-year-old has been about business, right? They've been about money, they've been about power, they've been about establishing a life that allows them to live comfortably in their 80s, to where they're not dependent on anyone else. Okay. In order to do that, you have to have great organization skills. You have to have great management skills. You have to have a little bit of vision and a little bit of patience and a whole lot of determination in order to be able to sit at one point, figure out a plan, and then actually work towards it. So the eight person has put some of the things from the four, the six, those other energies into action. And the eight is very much an action oriented energy. And eight is in astrology, this is your sex, death, desires kind of thing. The 80-year-old is also very much aware of how finite life is. So they may spend time organizing their money matters, even more so than like the 70-year-old, because the 70-year-old still has a lot more hope. The 80-year, 10 years later, you're like, I only got a few more of these left, right? So, good side of it is if they do things well, they're going to manage their money well, and they're going to have a great outlook on that of the success that they put into place. And they have the ability to succeed. That eight energy brings about the ability to succeed. The downside is some 80-year-olds are the ones who are going to live to be 120 because they're abusing everybody and they're the ones that nobody wants to see be around because they're so nasty. They're so abusive with their money. They use the money to force people to do what they want. They hold the money over their head. So they abuse the power that they have, which is the same energy of the eight. A person could have all of this power, and it could not just be money. They could be a boss at a job, right? They can have some other power that they wield over you. And by the way that they misuse that power, it makes life hell. Okay. That person could also not know how to manage their money, not have good business skills, and lose all of their money. They could be the 80-year-old with nothing to show for having earned millions of dollars from their lifetime because they weren't managing money well. Lower vibration. Okay. Now, in business, would I like a partner who has some eight power energy? Heck yeah, if I'm a five, because five and eight, those are some things that there's some things I can work on as long as we work out our communication, our creativity. We can work this out. We can earn some money. Might not last long, but we can do some things, right? Again, you got to look at the energies together. Now, the seven in my chart, do I want an eight? I don't want anybody controlling me. The eight can be bossy. I need a high vibration eight. Eight is also associated with Scorpio, which is, of course, considered a very sexual zodiac sign. So, sexual energy normally is attractiveness, meaning people are drawn to them, charismatic in nature. So, would I need that for certain things in business? Of course. So, you got to look at the energy. So, let's look at the other side of it. When I get these angel numbers, 888 keeps popping up, 888, 888, 888. Most people just say, I'm going to get some money. 888, I'm going to get some money. I've seen it online. I've seen y'all doing it. 888, money, money, money. I've seen y'all do it. Great. Great that you think that. But 888 is 24. 24 adds up to 6, which is the nurturing energy. If I see someone get 888, my question is, do you have a home-based business? Do you have a business that you need to start with your family? Are you putting money into your home? Are you forming partnerships with your family? Are you laying the right foundation in your business? Or is your business set up to fail? That's my 888, right? Not just all these eights are here, I'm going to get some money. Eights are here, it's boss move, it's boss energy. I'm going to get a promotion. That's what some people think. I look at the quantity of eights and when is it occurring? Do you see these eights after you've lost a job? Maybe you're going to get a promotion into a new job or a new business or something else. Maybe you're going to meet someone and you won't have to work at all. Maybe you're going to win the lottery, right? But your finances might change, but you're not just physical money. You got to also look at the spiritual implications because some people have millions of dollars and yet they're spiritually bankrupt. The eight is also very close to the nine, which is that last number, which is that spiritual number. So a person might actually be preparing to enhance their spiritual bank account with that eight energy in preparation for the nine. Lots of different little things to look at. What to do if you have a partner who has an eight and they give off more of those Scorpio, I'm in charge vibe? Well, depends on what you want out of life. Um, some people can deal with that, and Aries cannot. If you're an Aries, run. You guys are too toxic together. All right, one more to go. See you guys on the next one.